Okay, welcome to the new term, guys. Very important term. I'm sure you agree. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we see what you're made out of. I've been rolling off like a notebook for you, so it's kind of like notes covering everything. It's a bit Yamaha, so I've got to staple it all, so I may not give it to you now. I don't want to waste your time because, you know, I've got to figure it out myself. But it's rolled off for you, and it'll cover a lot of this term's work so that you've got something. And it's also in the form of worksheets. Are you excited about the June exam? You're going to do well? Here comes the pep talk. Let's waste a few minutes on a pep talk. I don't know if I told you I was a rotten student at school. I had a wrong attitude. And the attitude was, I never did a stitch of homework unless I knew the teacher was going to check it. Never. And if the teacher didn't check it, I didn't do it. Okay, so that was the wrong kind of me, and so we scraped through, and it meant just before the exam, a lot of studying, a lot of burning the midnight oil, getting your eyes, getting yourself all in a frenzy. I am sure you don't do that. Then, when I got older, I learned to start studying a month before the time, and that's when I started getting my A's and B's. So instead of relying on my short-term memory, which is a wonderful thing, you know, the night before, I used to sometimes work right through the day, right through the night, go to the exam, no sleep, nothing, just. And the moment the exam was finished, I forgot everything. Yay! It's a terrible idea, but I just want to tell you, I know what it's like. It's terrible. It put a lot of stress on me. And in retrospect, what the heck did I do with all that time when I wasn't studying? It just honestly never crossed my mind to sit down and do some work just for the sake of getting a better mark. It never crossed my mind, and I guess I can't explain it. I had nothing significant to do. I went and kicked the ball around in the park, hung out a bit with my friends, or I read a book, but it never crossed my mind to actually do a bit of work. And then when I was about 37 and I was studying for my second degree, which was a B.Ed, in those days they paid teachers for getting a B.Ed, then I thought, now I'm keen to study. So I started a month before the time, and then when the exam comes, I look at all the questions. Gee, I know these so well. Which question? Oh, I want to do them all, but they only allow me to do 3 out of 5. Oh, so then it started to become really fun. So I know both sides of the story, and I know there's some good students here who really want to do well. So this is why I've got notes for you, so that I want you to be like racehorses. There's some of you who just want to take off. Like this 2 weeks of waiting was just a waste of time. You just thought, gee, I've got a matric to get. Some of you felt like that, and others of you felt, gee, I'm sorry to be back at school. That might have been me. So anyway, so we've got notes, we've got everything so that you guys can go off and do, and there's going to be a certain minimum amount of work. We want to do one question from a past exam each time for homework. We'll start it in class, and then we want to do at least one question a day for homework. For each question you're going to get in the exam, I want you to do 4 past papers. Now, the first paper that you do is going to be like tricky. Like I saw some of you doing graphs at the last period of the term. Man, that was profitable. I just saw you guys struggling, and at the end of that lesson, man, you knew something about graphs. Then when you do it a second time, there's still a few things to sort out, but you're getting there. And the third time, it's getting, I'm mastering this, I'm getting good. And the fourth time, it's boring. So I want you to do at least 4 questions. Does that sound right? But unfortunately, I can't do them for you. So that's where your part comes in. You've got to be able to do the work, and you've got to motivate yourself to do it. But does that sound right to you? Yes, sir. And if we do 4 past questions, then it's pretty well sure that we've covered everything. So that's the past question papers, and then I'm going to give you past question papers. We're basically mostly going to work from the 2014 exemplar, and I hope they've got last year's papers here, the matric 2019 one. I saw them around. I hope they haven't disappeared, because I want to give you each a copy. Does anyone know where they are? But I'll look for them. They may be in the back room, or maybe they're here. I hope I don't have to recopy them for you, but if we have to, we will. So those will be the first 2, and then we've always got plenty of papers, but then we must give you the memos, which we will do as well, and work through them. Okay, and then we also have to cover new work every day. So I'm going to do Doppler today. Now you're going to say, but we aren't really 100% able to do vertical projectile motion, which we did in the last week or last week. And you're correct. So when you do the next question and you start drawing graphs again, you're going to be a little bit better. And when you do the third one, you're going to master it. And when you do the fourth one, you're going to be bored with it. Okay, we want to get you to the stage of boredom. Because then, man, this is so easy. You basically look at the question, you say, I know how to do that, because then I'm going to apply this law, and you don't even really have to do it. That's the stage when you get to question the fourth time you're doing it. Make sense? We want to get you to the boredom stage. So today I'm going to cover the new section of Doppler. All happy with that, everyone? Because I feel and I'm going to rush through this a little bit, but you're going to have your book. It's all going to be organized there somewhat for you in a way. So although we're jumping around to a new section Doppler, that doesn't matter. We jump from this to that to this to that in our minds all the time. Our mind is used to jumping. I'm sure some of you jump somewhere else, back to your holiday and your friends and music and jokes and whatever else. You're thinking of something else right now. So we jump around. Okay, so that's not a problem. So let's do some Doppler now. What is Doppler? I've got a sheet on it. Have you heard of Doppler? Okay, have you heard of waves? So let me just try and be a little bit logical. You see, if waves didn't travel out from this keyboard, they would all just collect here and you'd never hear anything. If they didn't travel, I'd be talking and you would hear nothing. So is it clear that when something makes a sound, the sound travels out towards you? Is that logical? Yes. Because you can hear it, so it got from here to there, so it must have traveled. Make sense? Okay. And it travels at a certain speed, which we call the speed of sound, which is 340 meters per second. Now, every single note on this is a little vibrating speaker. Whoops, let's try that. Okay, so each of those is a different frequency. So what is happening? Now I know you guys haven't done waves, so can I give you just a little, you guys haven't done waves? You haven't done waves? Yep. Okay. Yep, meaning you haven't. Yes. Okay. Okay, so what happens when I play a note? When I play a note, we've got a speaker here with a little, okay, here's your speaker, and it sends out vibrations, and these vibrations travel out from the speaker. And they travel at a certain speed of 340 meters per second, approximately. They will give you that in the exam, what the exact speed. It could be 345, it could be 342. I just know it's around 340. We call it the speed of sound. Happy, everyone? Now, if we have a low note, which is called the pitch, that's lower than that. You can hear that, right? That's high, low, in the middle. If we have a low note, just let me show you what a low note looks like. A low note has got a long gap between what we call the crests of the waves, or in sound we call them the rarefactions or the compressions and the rarefactions. I'm trying to pack a lot in, so, but... Yeah. Basically the pattern. Excuse me? Basically the period. So this is the period, which is a time. It's a time. If you're listening here, I'm going to draw your ear. You're lying down, there's your ear. And you're hearing the waves hum past you. This is the period of time that it takes. Happy with that? It's got a certain length of time for each wave to come past. But if you're listening, this is a low note. If you're listening to a high note, the girls, here, this is the boys, let's draw a girl. A girl's wave. This is a girl's wave. Shame. Okay, I know we're being sexist here, but I can't help it that girls have got higher frequency.
Yeah.
Okay, so girls have a higher pitch, right? All happy? So, what is the period of time for a girl? Bigger or smaller?
It's bigger. Oh, it's smaller.
It's going to take less time for the waves to come past your ear. Each, we call this the crest or the compression of the wave. And then where it stretches out, there's your crest. We call it a rarefaction. In sound, we call it a rarefaction. In other waves, we call it a trough. But what has happened with air is the air is stretched and compressed. When the speaker does this, it squashes the air moves off, then the speaker moves back and it stretches the air. So the air is stretched and squashed, stretched and squashed. The squashing is called a compression. The stretching is called a rarefaction. Do you want to say compression? Say everyone knows. Compression or crest. Compression or crest. Rarefaction or trough. Rarefaction, everybody? Thank you. That's great. Elvis has not left the building. Okay. Now, this is the time which is measured in seconds, but it's also got a distance which is measured in what we call meters, and that is called the wavelength, or Greek lambda. Say lambda, everybody. Lambda, everybody. Lambda. Okay. Greek letter L, small. So lambda is the wavelength. Now, what do you think the girl's wavelength is? Is it bigger or smaller? Smaller. Smaller. So let's play a small lambda. Let's play a large lambda. Happy about that? That's the boys. That's the girls. That's the boys. Okay. Now, what is Doppler? To get to Doppler, when a police car is approaching you, or an ambulance, it goes, let's just see if anyone knows what it sounds like. It comes, and then when it goes past, it does what? Whoom. It goes from and as it comes past, it goes and when it goes past you, it goes Have you heard that before? But when a car comes past you, it's coming, and as it goes away, it goes yum. I'm not speaking. So does it make sense? I hear it every day. If a motorbike's coming, it's coming. If a racing car is coming, it's. Now what is happening? Well, it's not that the sound of the motorbike or the car or the police siren is changing. It's the same siren. But it sounds different when it's coming towards you. Just listen to this. It sounds different when it's coming towards you, and when it's coming away from you, it sounds that the note seems stretched out. Now, how does this happen? And that is called the Doppler effect. I've given you a list of definitions. The Doppler effect is the apparent or observed change of frequency as an object moves towards or away, as an object moves towards or away from a listener. So a source, we call it, and a listener. Let me just try and explain it to you. If this is making a note, and I move it towards you,
Yeah, it's different.
can you hear that slight change of pitch?
Yes, yes.
That's Doppler. It's going high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. And it's different for me and you. It's moving away from me, so it's low. You hear that? That's Doppler you hear. It's the same note, but it's just you're hearing it different. Okay, let's just try and explain it to you. If this is the police car, it's got a little light and it's producing a siren. If it moves towards you, now just watch what happens here. If it moves towards you, it's moving the next wave front. So here's the car, it produces a wavefront, but then it moves there to produce the next wavefront closer to the past wavefront. Do you see what I mean? If it's standing still, it will produce it there. But if it's moving towards you, this is the siren here on the car, it then releases the next note closer to the last note.
Yeah.
Because it's moving towards you. Here's your ear. So what are you hearing? You're hearing high pitch. That's the E. It's lower when it moves away from you. Let's watch the logic again. Here is the siren. It's releasing a note which moves away from you. Now, as it's about to release its next note, the car's moving away from you. So instead of the car being here, the car is here. So there it releases the note further away. Further away. So what are we going to hear? The male voice.
Yeah.
We're going to hear ooh. So when it's coming towards you, it's close because the car is moving. And it's stretching out the wavelengths. Therefore you hear a lower wavelength. Happy?
Yes.
Happy everyone?
Yes, sir.
So what you've got to remember from this, what you've got to take away from this is the source of sound moves towards you, it sounds higher or lower? Higher. When it moves away from you, it sounds lower. Now it also doesn't matter if you move towards it. Let's just show you why it doesn't matter. Here's my ear. Now let's suppose the waves are coming at a certain frequency and I'm moving my ear in this direction. So the waves are traveling at 340 meters per second, but the next moment my ear is there because I have moved from there to there. So look how there's less distance for this wave to travel because I am moving towards the source of sound. So I am getting closer to the incoming waves. The next moment my ear is going to be there, I'm closer to the next one. So what is going to happen to the sound when you, the listener, move closer to a source of sound?
It becomes higher. The volume.
Can you see it becomes higher?
Yep.
Is it logical?
Yes.
Will I ever have to explain that again?
No.
We hope not. Okay.
So,
Yes.
so basically it doesn't matter which one moves with which one, the sound and wave will be high.
Exactly. So if the two sources are moving together, if both are moving, it's going to be very high. If one or the other is moving, it's going to be higher. Now let's take the opposite. What if the waves are just coming at the usual and you're moving your ear away? Do you see that you're creating distance?
Yes.
You're creating a longer wavelength by the very fact that you're moving. Therefore it's going to sound
And lower.
lower.
Feeling tone.
All happy with that?
And all the soft
Make sense? And that's Doppler. Yay! 13 marks. It's called bad teaching. Doppler. The Doppler effect. And what is the Doppler effect on your definition sheet? It's when a source of sound moves towards you, there's an apparent, or away from you, there's an apparent change of frequency. Apparent change of frequency. So, what are the terms used in Doppler? Well, we go to our What does that represent?
sheet.
Your BFF or data sheet. We go to our data sheet and we find a formula. Let me see if I can remember it. I'm a bit naughty. I haven't looked at this for a while.
Long-term difference. We'll see if it's working.
Okay. Frequency of the listener is equal to frequency of the source. Now, there's the formula. And inside this bracket is just going to be a fraction. Now, you know what a fraction is? It can be a decimal fraction or it can be a, say it's 11 upon 10. Is the frequency that the listener hears going to be higher or lower? And this is the frequency of the source. And this is the frequency of the listener. Okay. So suppose the source is, let's call the source 1,000. Okay? Just for the fun of it. Do you think if I've got 11 upon 10 times 1,000, that it's going to make the 1,000 bigger or smaller?
A little bigger.
Well, if you don't know, you just
A
reach for
little
your
bigger.
calculator.
It's gonna be almost 1 comma something.
Well, I know I can cancel that naught and that naught, so it's 11 times 100, which is 1100. And so it's bigger. Do you see what we're doing with Doppler? What is your Doppler equation? It's got a fraction times the frequency of the source will give you the frequency of the listener. What if our fraction was 6 upon 8? What do you think the sound is going to be, higher or lower frequency? 6 upon 8 is 3/4. So it's going to be 3/4 of the original value. Happy with that?
Yes, sir.
So all we need to know now is what's inside this fraction. Happy? So what if we introduced you to? There's the frequency of the listener. What is that? Is that what you hear, or is that what the police car produces?
What the police car produces.
Frequency of the,
Listener.
that's what you hear, right? That's the E. The frequency of the source is the police car. Now what do we have? We have the speed of sound on both top and bottom. And it's 340. The speed of sound is known as C. That's the speed of sound. It's happy with that so far? Then in this fraction we've got plus minus, and here we've got the speed of the velocity of the source over the velocity of the listener. I must just check that. I think that's the correct way around. S on top, but I'll have to check. No, this is just a number I made up to make the maths easy. What is it going to be? Every note has got a different frequency. So middle C, I remember looking it up in the holiday, was 340 kilohertz. So it's 340,000 hertz was this note on the piano. So no, that's going to vary with a problem. Here's middle C. Happy with that, everybody? Every note's got its own value. Make sense? Now, the only thing that makes this complicated is, do you see there's a plus and minus on top and bottom? Now, I found this way of remembering if it's towards you or away from you. And here's how we do it. What is a T? A T looks like this. Let's just get a color that we can. What does a T look like? It looks like this. So if it's towards you, we got plus in the top, minus at the bottom. Do you see that's a T? You see that?
Yes, sir.
And if it's away from you, it's the opposite. So I only have to remember this. If it's away, we have minus on top, plus on the bottom. So if it's towards us, in this on our BFF, it's going to be, we just draw a T. Plus on top, minus on the bottom. I've never heard, you'll never find any textbook, any other, because we found it out ourselves. It's just a way to remember. Okay, so there's nothing special to it, but it's a way of remembering. And then all we do is they're going to give you a certain source. There's the velocity of the source, say it's a police car. You will be standing still. One of these is going to be 0. They never have both moving. That's your velocity, the velocity of the listener, velocity of the source, frequency of the source, frequency of the listener. And guys, if they don't make the question too hellishly complicated, this is just like 13 or 10 or 15 marks bonus. It's a really nice question. Don't you agree? It's got one formula more or less. All happy? And then I'm going to just give you a problem to do. Happy with that, everybody? Okay, let's give you a problem. Unfortunately, I'm not organized, but tomorrow I promise I'll be better organized and we can give you a proper question. But it doesn't matter. It's good to give you an easy question. Shall we work on that? Okay, let's give you a question. We have, let's put it here. What do you want? Something moving towards you, or do you want you to move towards it?
Something moving towards us.
Something moving. A ambulance. Emitting. Give us a frequency that the ambulance is emitting. Give us a frequency. 47 hertz. Now, that's what frequency is measured in. 4,700 hertz. An ambulance emitting 47,000 hertz from its siren is traveling how fast towards you in meters per second? Well, we don't want to confuse them with the 340 of sound. What's the speed of the ambulance? How much? Lovely, okay. Is moving 120 meters per second towards a listener. What do you think the question is going to be? What frequency does the listener hear? What frequency does the listener hear? Okay, once you work it out, go for it. Okay, just take note of this. It should be BL on top. L on top. Now you don't have to remember it because it's on your data sheet, but there's the equation. Okay, we've got the answer. Why don't you just put up a hand? Let's get your answer. No, you just work in hertz.
So what does the VL stand for and the VS?
Velocity of the listener.
Or velocity of the listener over velocity of the sound. So
Okay, and as the same angle moves away from you, what frequency do you hear? Okay, matriculants, quickly to work. So should we just quickly do it? Let's just quickly do it. You can do number 2 for homework. Right. Okay. So what are you going to do? What's this? What's going to go here, guys? Just quickly. You see, I don't need to do these. This is what I do. What goes there? 340. What goes there? 340. Is it towards or away from me? It's towards, so there's going to be a T plus on top, minus on the bottom. What's the velocity of the listener? Is my ear moving? No, so it's going to be naught. What's the velocity of the source? 120. What's the frequency of the source? 4,700. And you're done. You see how easy? And then you do the opposite when it's away from you. It's minus on top, plus on the bottom. Get your other answer. You're masters of Doppler. So what are the numbers you're going to put in? 340 plus minus. Velocity of the listener, you're not moving, is naught. Velocity of the source is 120. Frequency of the source is 4700. Bingo, done. Then do the other one. Don't be like the old people. Do some 2 minutes work.
So you've never ate it? Yes, constant multiplication.
You know, some, are you from WhatsApp?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's what you said last time.
Well, you congratulations.
I want some.